Alright, hello everyone. Welcome to today's video. I'm going to be sewing the Susan coat. I don't have a lot of examples to show you of this one, and it's not because it's not a pattern I really love and I'd love designing. It's because I don't have a lot of need for coats, and I try to sew things that I'm actually going to wear and actually get at least a little bit of use out of. And sewing up a bunch of winter weight coats kind of seemed pointless. So the one I'm going to sew today is going to be a little bit more trans-seasonal and a little bit different. So I'll start by showing you the regular coat in all its glory. So this was one I made out of a wool poly blend. It's got a really nice wide kind of kimono shaped sleeve. It's got pockets that are all in one piece, so they just fold over nicely, and it is also fully lined. You'll see on this one I added little buttons. Alright, I hope that helps. I closed the door so hopefully you can't hear the dogs as much. They're just playing a lot out there. But yeah, this one I also added little buttons to make the collar detachable. This comes with a collar piece, this pattern, but it's completely optional. I moved in between making this and now, and it's been a little while as well, and I have lost the collar, so I can't show you it unfortunately, and I am sorry for that. I also made cuffs on this one with the same thing. I put a button on it and I made them removable, so I apologize for that. Pretty much all I did was make the collar piece and just put the little button loops so that it could loop over these buttons. Yeah, I do apologize, I can't show you that though. Yeah, it's a really nice kind of cocoony shape jacket. I've made this up in a nice coating weight wool poly, which is nice for winter, nice and cozy. I wanted something that wasn't too structured, something you could really just like cuddle up in. There's actually no buttons on this, and I designed it that way because I find in winter, I mean, there's lots of coats I love to button up, but I often am wearing them unbuttoned and kind of wrapping them over themselves and like cuddling myself into them. So I wanted to sort of just embrace that with this and not add any buttons. So you can just cuddle it up as much as you want or leave it open as much as you want as well. And yeah, it is fully lined, but you can make it unlined as well. So today what I'm going to do is make an unlined version. I've already made it up. I'm filming this intro after making it all. So I'm making it in this Sherpa. So it is going to be technically double-sided, and I've made it so all the edges you can see fluffy poking through. And this one is unlined, and I wanted it to be a little bit more of a lightweight, like it's still wintry because it is a Sherpa, it's nice and thick, but something that I could wear sort of more in autumn and going into the start of spring, where it's not so heavy as a coat, and maybe a little bit more casual as well, just with like jeans and a t-shirt type thing. I'm still undecided if I want to keep the collar on or not. So this is the collar. I do really love it. The only thing is that because I kind of like the Sherpa popping around, I don't know if that sort of makes the collar redundant. I don't know. So it's easy enough for me to remove, but I'm going to keep it on for now. And yeah, let's get into making it. Pieces I'm going to need for this are the collar piece, the sleeve piece, the front piece, back piece, and then the front, back, bottom pieces. And what I'm going to do, because I want this to be able to be worn either side, reversible, I'm going to sew the seams so they lap over each other like that, and that way a little bit of this white will poke through. Right now with the 1 centimeter seam allowance, that means that these would overlap by 2 centimeters, which I just think is too much. It's a very thick seam. So I'm going to, when I cut these pieces out, go through all the edges with the seam allowance and cut a further 5 mil off. That way when I do overlap the seams, they'll just overlap by 1 centimeter, which is still a pretty big overlap. When I've done this before, I've cut back the seams almost entirely and just done like a 5 mil overlay. But I think a nice 1 centimeter overlay would be nice. Yeah, so I'm going to do that, cut away all the seams once I cut it out, and yeah, I'll get cutting now. So with the collar piece, I should say, I'm not going to be cutting 2, I'm just going to be cutting 1, because with this piece I'm going to just leave it as is. I'm not going to be bagging it out. And also with the hems, I'm going to cut all the hem allowance off. And so like for the collar as well, I'm going to cut all this seam allowance off except for where it's being attached at the neck, because I'm going to leave all these edges raw. I'll stitch around them to make sure they don't fray, but this fabric isn't really prone to fraying anyway. It might unravel a tiny bit, some of the fluff and stuff, but it's not going to fray like a jacquard or anything. So I'm not going to finish the edges, just stitch along the edge. So because of that, I'm going to get rid of all the hem and seam allowances where something isn't being sewn into another seam, if that makes sense. So yeah, I'm going to go cut all of these pieces out. Alright, so I've got all the pieces cut out. I'm going to start with the back and the front. So what I'm going to do is lay out the back, lay out the front, and then I'm going to lay them with a 1 centimeter seam overlap on this seam. I'm going to stitch straight down the center of that seam, and any little bits where the fabric's maybe not as neatly cut as I'd like, I'm just going to go and straighten up a little bit better. So I'm going to do that on both sides, and then I'll move on to doing all the other seams. So this is how I'm going to do all the seams with it overlapped. And for this side of the garment, I think I'm going to put all the seams overlapping towards the back. So this white fluffy will face towards the back. And then on the other side, it'll be the other way. Alrighty, so the shoulders are done. Looks a little something like this now. So I like that when you're kind of looking from the front, you still get a bit of that white fluff. Now I'm going to attach the sleeves. So the sleeves, the exact same thing. I'm just going to place it over the top. With the sleeve, I'm going to place it so the sleeve is sitting up on top of the shoulder. The reason for that is because I'm going to be most likely wearing it with the black side facing out. That way on this side, when I put my arm in, it doesn't catch on the extra seam. So if I do wear it this way, it might a little bit. I mean, it's not that much, but yeah, I'm going to do it that way. So I'm going to do that, and then at the same time, while I'm at the machine, I might as well add the bottom pieces on as well, so the front and the back pieces. So with these, I've got the pocket. So I cut the pocket off the front bottom piece. Usually you stitch these together in one big piece, but I decided it wasn't necessary and I kind of wanted that fluff showing there as well. So this one, I'm going to do the same thing and place the bottom piece on top of that top piece, and I'm going to stitch it here and then down around the pocket and then back here. But before I do that, I might just stitch along this edge just so that it doesn't fray. I don't think it really will fray. That's why I'm doing these edges, but just for a little bit extra security, it'll also stop it stretching out or anything like that. So I'm going to stitch where the pocket is, just a simple straight stitch, and then I'm going to stitch it onto the front following that line, and then with the back piece it's the exact same thing just without the pockets, so just stitching it straight. So sleeves and bottom sides, and then I'll be able to move on to the side seams. All right, sleeve is attached, as well as the front piece with the pocket. So the pocket's not usable from the other side, which I knew when I did this finish it wouldn't be. I couldn't really work out a way to make it usable from both sides that still had this like fluffy edge finish that I wanted. So I'm fine with it not being usable, because like I said, I'll probably mostly wear this with the black side out anyway. And then I also attached the back piece. So it's all looking like a big pile of coat right now, but I'm going to join up the side seams. So again, the exact same way that I've done all the other seams, I'm going to lay one piece over the other. So I'm going to do front over the back, and I'm going to make sure that it matches up here, and then it also matches up where the sleeves match. So this will be a little bit tricky to sew this sleeve bit. I have done a jacket this way before with seams finished this way, and because this is now a tube, it can get a bit tight to sew this bit, so I may need to stop and start a couple of times and reposition and stuff like that. So I'm going to take it pretty easy up until probably about that sleeve point. It'll be pretty easy to sew. So yeah, I'm going to go ahead and do that for both sides. Alrighty, so that side seam is sewn up. It's looking really nice, fluffy on the edges, which is exactly what I wanted. And then on the inside, got the black showing instead. So that's all done. So now I'm going to move on to the collar. So the collar, what I'm going to do is stitch 5mm from the edge around this short edge and then the long curve, and that is because I'm not going to do anything else to that edge, similar to what I did at the top of the pocket here, just to stop it stretching out and all of that. And I think I want the collar to be the fluffy side so that it sits like that, and I'm trying to work out if I stitch it on overlapped like I did all the other seams and then it will fold down, but I think that might look a bit weird, so I'm kind of thinking I might just stitch it on as is. Yeah, I think that's what I'm going to do, and just stitch it down, because I think if I do anything else it's just going to look a little bit funny because it's going to stick up. So yeah, I think I'm going to just stitch it down like so, and then I'm also going to stitch 5mm along this front edge, all along the bottom of the hem and the sleeve hem, again just like the pocket, to stop stretching out and anything like that, and then I'll be done. Righty, it is all done. So I've stitched the collar down, I also put a label in the back, all side seams done, and I stitched along the edge of the whole piece just to give a little bit extra security. But I think it looks really cute, and I kind of plan on wearing it sort of loose and open, just something sort of easy to throw on. I do need to give it a really good lint roll because this white fluff is so sticky to everything. It just kind of goes everywhere, so it does need a good lint roll, and probably will continue needing that until all these loose edges have just like lost any of that fluff that isn't super secure in there. But yeah, it looks super cozy and nice. All right, thank you so much for watching this. This pattern is now available up online, over 8 sizes. So if you don't already know, I am resizing all my patterns up across 8 sizes. And yeah, so if you have a pattern that you like of mine but isn't available across the 8 sizes yet, let me know, and I can kind of bump that one up on my list of patterns to do, because there are a few. And yeah, hope you enjoyed this. Don't forget to follow my Instagram because I'm far more active over there, and subscribe, like, comment, all of that good stuff, and I'll see you in the next one.